4, and it's a big mistake because of the cool tactic knight takes c4, because I found the move b5. c3 only move. It just loses pawn. What are you doing, bozo? Alright everybody, today we have some different content. Last night I played in a tournament in which there's a section of 4 players and you play each player, so there's 3 games total. It's USCF rated, and I have my USCF rating and my opponent's USCF rating shown at the time. Of course it's different now since the tournament was rated, but I'm showing what it was at the time. But this was an amazing game. And don't be fooled by my opponent's rating. I think they are severely underrated. In fact, they beat the other 1600 that was in the section. So definitely do not be fooled by the 1000 rating. So I'm not really going to explain the first few moves. It's just theory, and there's not really much to explain besides this is just how you'd play this, I guess. I don't know. I don't know any theory here. I just play based off instinct. Since I just wanted to switch up my openings and play d4, d5 instead of King's Indians types positions, which aren't really my style. So yeah, I played h6 here. By the way, he took on d5 here because if he played instead bishop to d3, you do take c4 and you've already equalized, and you can already have like slight advantages because essentially you're just winning a full tempo here, which is the entire reason white has an advantage in the first place. So that is why he took on d5 before playing bishop d3. And then I played h6 to stop knight to g5 and also stop any pressure on my h7 pawn. Of course that square is still under pressure, but I'm not at risk of losing pawn ever, even if I move my knight. So after castles, I play c6, just supporting the pawn, and I'm not really out of my opening phases yet. I'm still kind of just improving my position slowly, getting developed. He plays a3. Usually the typical idea in this position is playing b4 and b5. So I'm just like, okay, why don't I just stop that altogether with a5. This is now completely stopped by my bishop and pawn. And if he plays it anyways, I just take, and now this pawn's pinned, and he just lost a full pawn, and he's like completely losing. So yeah, can't do that. It's fine though. So yeah, he played b3. I mean, the idea is very clear here. He wants to put his bishop on b2. I didn't think it was the best plan since even after he fiancos his bishop, he's kind of just looking at a pawn. So I don't think his bishop's ever going to be very strong for the vast duration of this game. I find the top engine move here, which comes with, I don't know, experience, but also like I remember analyzing one of my blitz games and finding that bishop d6 is often just a really good improving move. It basically just activates the bishop, makes it really active, and you're going to basically put your queen behind it and exert pressure on the white king side. And also stop any knights coming to e5, which is nice. So yeah, bishop b2. It says it's best, but I didn't really believe in this plan. I don't really know what it actually does. I think the computer just thinks it's best because you moved this pawn in order to do that in the first place. So I play rook e8, and my idea may not be very obvious to less experienced players here, but the entire point of rook e8 is not really to stop anything in the center, but it's actually to free up the f8 square for my knight to reroute to a g6, or even just stay on f8 and protect the g6 and h7 squares, which you'll see is what happened in the game. I played knight f8. The computer disagrees with it, but it's still equal, and it even prefers my side, so it's like a minus 0 zeros. I don't think it's that inaccurate. This just gives me an immediate advantage. It doesn't do anything. I mean, b4 is never really good here. So yeah, I played bishop g4. I mean, the obvious threat is I'm gonna double the pawns if he doesn't move. So he plays knight back to d2. The computer just unfazed by doubling pawns in front of the king, but he's a human, so he didn't want to do that. So he moved his knight back to d2. Obviously the knight's just kind of terrible there. I mean, if you look at all the squares, it doesn't really have any good squares, so it's going to have to go back to f3 eventually. The knight is protected by the bishop, so I can't really take and say it's a good thing. So I play queen c7, lining up at the h2 pawn since the only defender of that pawn just moved. He plays h3, defending the pawn by moving it and also hitting my bishop. I move back since I notice I can just go bishop g6 and capture with the knight. So a trade would improve my position by removing the battery and also developing my knight. So I think it was definitely the better plan, even though the computer disagrees and thinks bishop d7 is good. But okay, b4. I did a takes b4, and after bishop takes c4, I'm like, I don't have to take back. So why do I have to take back? So I go bishop back to g6, continuing my plan on the king side. Obviously, if he takes, I take with my knight, and I think it's definitely a good trade for me. There bishop takes, I mean, obviously I have to take with my queen because it's like the only move. Is this bishop takes d6 was also fun there, which I find interesting. Yeah, knight to f4, that's kind of revealing the point of taking on d6 is to go knight to f4. Now obviously I don't want him to take because then I'll lose a pawn. If you'll see, then I have to recapture my pawn and then the queen takes pawn. So I take on d3, just a very equal trade, removing the battery. And you'll notice that this pawn isn't hanging anymore because in this position, technically this pawn was hanging, but it's not worth it in my opinion. This is an a pawn, it's on its own, it's not really doing anything. For example, if I take, it's not that bad, but you went from like having a slight advantage to having a slight disadvantage, which just doesn't make any sense. And the reason this is bad is because after knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, your king is now less safe. You lost a pawn around your king, and also the queen is just in your position. Of course, you have rook 88, and there's some counterplay, of course, but it's not ideal. So, of course, I just take, and keep it simple, play knight to e6. I think this is more active than knight to g6. Also, knight g6 just loses a pawn. Again, same kind of tactic. So yeah, this is just more towards the center. It's protected by more pieces. Knight takes, and I thought it looked very interesting with f takes, because now I'm going to go either e5 or c5. I have options now. So I thought f takes e6 was more practical. Even though the computer doesn't fully agree with it. It was the third move, not the first two, but the first two are basically the same evaluation, whatever. So yeah, rook b1, I thought this was good. He's just attacking basically my only weakness, so I move queen back. Computer's unfazed, just wants you to send it and deal with backwards c pawn, which I don't think is good, but computer, I don't know. Okay, I centralized my knight after he undefended the square with his knight, so I thought it was just, you know, normal to play knight 84. So yeah, knight e5, obviously that was his entire point of going knight to f3. And now I play c5. Now obviously he can't take. If he takes, I take his knight, he's down a piece, I win. Of course he gets like, what, 2 pawns, but I mean, it's not even close. So yeah, he plays rook to c1. And I play rook to f8 because I can put pressure on the f pawn now. So he plays rook to a2, which is a mistake due to c4, but I missed it and I played queen to d6. The reason I did this is because I thought now after I play c4, I'm putting pressure on the a pawn, but it's not even true at all. I'm just, you know, it doesn't do anything now. So after f3, now I play c4, and it's a big mistake because of the cool tactic, knight takes c4. I mean, obviously I have to take back now, or else I look like a fool. So I take, and queen takes. I don't know why it calls it a great move. Don't be fooled by me being down a pawn here, because it's still like equal. It's still equal, and the reason it's still equal is because I found the move b5. And if you don't think these pawns look scary now, just wait. a4. Doesn't do anything. You know why? Because he can't take it, because the pawn is pinned. So I play rook c8. And the point of this move is so after I play b4, this pawn is still defended by my rook. That's why I couldn't play b4 previously. So I defend it, and now on the next move I play b4. It's supported by my queen, so he can't really stop it that easily. So yeah, queen b1, attempting to like put more pressure on it. It doesn't work though, since I just played b4, and I am winning. I am winning in this position. I'm down a pawn and I'm winning. Do not be fooled by material advantage. I'm winning. Rook c2. c3, only move to keep winning. Queen to b3. I support the b pawn with my rook so I can move my queen away, and I just have perfect technique here. I really need to pat myself on the back for that. My technique here was basically impeccable. He played king f2, which is honestly a good move. I mean, king f2, best move. Good job. And my entire point of playing rook b8 now shows itself. Queen to d5. Now he makes a giant mistake here. The best move here is rook b1. So he, like, for example, rook b1 takes. Now both my pawns are immobilized. Obviously I wouldn't have taken, because taking is just kind of awful. You play queen f5 here, skewer, and put more pressure, because trading queens here is just absolutely garbage because you paralyze your pawns. But he makes the big mistake of trading queens because he thought he was up a pawn and that he can just stop my pawns. But that evaluation is completely incorrect, and you'll see why due to my very tactical move on the next turn. b3, top move. And the reason this is good, you're like, oh, it just loses a pawn. What are you doing, bozo? After takes, b2, you can't go back because it's covered by the pawn. So it's just a promotion. I win, you lose. So yeah, after takes, after king here, which, I mean, it's the second move, but you lose a pawn you lose a rook for a pawn, I mean. So after takes, I try and remove the rook from in front of the pawn so I can push it to promote. So after king to d3, I take, and now I just very simply bring my king. And there's some cool, like, quick little calculation here. I can just have an even better position. I can just take a7 and take with my king. And now after a8 promotes, I can just take with my rook, and my king is defending my passed pawn. So in this position, my opponent resigned. And the reason this was an absolutely amazing game is I played perfectly. Like, I played absolutely perfectly. Not like every move was perfect, but I played so well that I never had a big disadvantage. The biggest disadvantage I had was 0.5. And I immediately, after that, like, was winning. So yeah, just to show you how well I played. Again, kudos to my opponent for their accuracy. They played very well as well. They had an accuracy of 84.2. That's how accurate they were. 1,000 rated player, by the way. Like, no blunders. I mean, of course he had mistakes that allowed me to push my pawn and win the game, but no actual full blunders, according to Stockfish. And I had an accuracy of 94.7, which is crazy. I think that was really good, especially since I don't know any theory there. I don't really know any plans. I was kind of just working it up on the spot, which is why I appreciate having longer time controls. It just gives me time to think and really think through the positions and get nice wins like this. So yeah, anyways, for estimated ratings, my opponent had an estimated rating of 2050. That's more than 1,000 points above his rating. So very good game by my opponent. And I had an estimated rating of 2450, which is international master strength. So good job to me. Yeah. So I have 2 more games from this tournament. Stay tuned for tomorrow and the day after's episode. So yeah, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.